Greetings, all greetings. Just looking out at the evening sky. Gas delivery. Somebody ran out of gas. Just looking out at the evening sky. Sunset. Wow. Nice and cool outside. Anyway, something I observed today. I was looking at what's going on in the world, and I noticed something popped up. Voice of America. It seems like it has been canceled. That's why I say it. Once it seems appears that funding to Voice America was canceled. Um, Voice of America is an organization that set up by the U.S. government to sell America to the world. There's others, that does the same thing. Other organizations that do the same thing. Churches. The one that Trump canceled the other day that were funding all kind of terrorist organizations around the world. And people wouldn't believe, once I told people, look, all the Muslim imams in Iraq and Afghanistan, and not all, I shouldn't say all, but they were being paid large sums of money. But anyway, Voice of America canceled. The second one that caught my attention was Singapore has started telling its people that we are now in a unipolar world and the rules are changing for them. And I started laughing because they were saying that they were following a moral ground, but reality they weren't. They were going along with America, and that began with Lee Kuan Yew, who was a UN installed by America in the UN as head of the UN. He did everything that America wanted. And therefore, when Singapore was born, he was made a head of state and was kept in his family. So it was like a family business until lately. I don't know a relationship to the current president, to the Lee Kuan Yew family, but it was a family business. And America organized it that way. He got paid for what he did for America in the UN. And now they're trying to make it look like, hey, we between this rock and a hard place is China and America, and a new way of doing things in the world. And now we have to choose. And we have to stick together as a nation of people. And we got this great army in case we got to fight. China has never fired a shot at any one of its neighbors in that area. Philippines, Malaysia. The only fight that China got into in the area is Vietnam. And that's another story. But two icons, you can say, leaving the stage. Why I brought Singapore is because a lot of African nations and a lot of African people look to Singapore as a symbol of wealth and how to run things, not knowing that Singapore was following in the footsteps of America. Whatever America said to do, Singapore did. That's how they stayed in that position. It's only now that with the rise of China, Singapore is finding itself in a bad position. And it's not even a bad position. Because eventually, every nation that comes to power falls. It's like a man who's born and becomes a soldier, and at his peak, he fights and fights and fights to stay in that way, in that position. But then, 50 years old, he realizes he's getting old. 60, he's tired. 70, he's losing his faculties. 80, diseases start setting in. That's the way America is. You can see it in every empire, so-called empire. If it happened to Africa, who has built monuments all around the world, don't you think it's going to happen to America? Some people are going to come up and say, hey, Africa didn't travel around the world. Yes, they did. Every pyramid you see is fashioned after the African pyramid. And they're still standing, just like the African pyramid. Some are buried on the mud and sand nowadays, but when we find them, you will see. And each one is a roadmap to the universe. But we're not talking about that today. America canceled Voice of America. It is costing too much to be the king, to be the ruler, to have the biggest army and the most bases, military bases around the world. It is costing too much. Something has to be done. Just as you see Trump has attacked the veterans, they attacked the old elderly and Social Security, attacking everybody. No one is safe now. Those of you who are preaching going to Africa, warn your people now that Africa is not as easy as it seems. Tell them about the hardship, the obstacles they're going to face. I'm not saying that they will not survive. If you look at how America was born, people who came to America, the first wave, second wave, third wave, most of them were wiped out. Died from starvation. The land just wore them down and ate them. And sometimes they got into war with the natives and died. It was the native who saved them. Don't you think you're going to need the natives when you get to Africa? Not to say that they're the greatest. And you've listened to my videos, you'll see some of the things that I warn you about. But got to go there prepared. Eventually, you're going to go there or die. And I'm just letting you know straight up. You're going to join other black people around the world or you're going to die. That's just the way it's going to be. Unforgiving is this universe. When you don't act according to the universe, when you want to disobey the law, you want to have a belief in the evil that you see around you, it is unforgiving. It's like the man who tried to climb Mount Everest. Unprepared die. The man who tried to swim across the ocean from one island to another, unprepared die. You know how many Caucasians boats were sunk in the Caribbean filled with gold that they stole? The lives of people that they murdered for that small ingot. Look at Spain and Portugal today. Unforgiving. You're going to have to come to Africa. Either you or your children, whatever is left. So come prepared. You need land to grow your own food. Food is essential in Africa. You need health care. Come healthy. Whatever medicines you need, bring it. And if you're too ill, don't go. But do your research. Warn your people. Those who make videos, warn the people. Have a great day wherever you are. Peace.